over a year and a half since the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. A new Biden administration report finding decisions made by former President Donald Trump set the U.S. up for failure.
The last administration made a commitment not only to withdraw all American troops, but to also release thousands, tens of thousands of fighters from prison, as well as a timetable that the Biden administration inherited. The president did everything he could to manage that situation.
But Republican lawmakers say President Joe Biden is ultimately responsible since he was the one in charge. Representative Chris Smith tells VOA he was frustrated by the lack of responsibility.
I couldn't believe that the administration is defaulting to Trump. You know, he had conditionality affixed to when and if our troops would leave Afghanistan. Right. And that is the key. That is the linchpin of all of it, that there's conditionality. Biden had no conditionality, announced in advance that he wanted a 9/11 type of photo op.
And House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Michael McCaul tells VOA the Biden administration continues to withhold internal dissenting communications from the U.S. Embassy in Kabul.
Congress has a right to know the content, and that's all we asked from the secretary was, well, you can redact the names, we'll review it in a classified setting, but I want to know firsthand the content. I don't want it filtered through your people.
Government investigators told U.S. lawmakers this week blame could be found in both administrations, from the impact of the 2020 Doha agreement negotiated by Trump.
These policy decisions dramatically degraded the morale of the Afghan security forces and compounded the Afghan military's total dependence on U.S. combat and contractor support, which left the Afghan military unable to sustain operations.
To confusion in the U.S. government under the Biden administration about the capabilities of Afghan forces.
I don't know who is telling the administration there were 300,000 Afghan soldiers and police toward the end. Nobody we talked to ever said that that number was near there. We had reports that half of those people were probably ghosts.
And the State Department's planning for the evacuation.
We found that embassy leadership, implementing the position taken at the time by the administration, operated under the understanding that diplomatic operations would continue in Afghanistan after the military withdrawal, and did not want to engage in overt evacuation planning based on concerns that it could spark panic and undermine support for the Afghan government.
McCaul saying Congress will continue to probe the August 26, 2021 suicide bombing at Kabul airport.
Who was a commanding officer who denied permission to engage the suicide bomber that then resulted in the deaths of 13 servicemen and women?
That attack also killed 170 Afghan civilians. Katherine Gypson, VOA News, Capitol Hill.